Mark Smith did 15 years in prison for sex crimes involving a 9-year-old girl. He's classified as a sexual predator. The law requires him to register his address with the sheriff's department every 90 days. The law also says Mark Smith cannot live within 1,000 feet of a school. But he does. Just a block away from his home, 200 students attend Kent Elementary School. And are you aware that you're living within 1,000 feet of a school?
No.
Didn't know that? You know the school down the street here?
Yeah, the one I went to.
740 feet. Every day, children walking to and from Kent Elementary walk right past Smith's home. And 10 Investigates found it's not an isolated situation. Using computer mapping software, we identified 305 sex offenders living within 1,000 feet of a school in Franklin County. 45 of them sexual predators, the most serious kind of offenders, those identified by the courts as most likely to reoffend. Good. Are you Gary? Gary is one of 4 predators living within 1,000 feet of Main Street Elementary. We're working on a story about the provision of the sex offender law having to do with schools. I'm not interested. They're able to violate the 1,000-foot rule because the law doesn't provide any penalties.
When a person comes in and registers, we get their address and we find out that they live within 1,000 foot of a school. We can say, you're not allowed to do that. But that's all we can do, is tell them you're not allowed to do that.
Hearing that even law enforcement feels powerless causes more discomfort for parents.
So, I mean, it's a big concern to me because my kids walk to and from school every day.
We need to fix it to where that they can go arrest them and get them away from our kids.
They don't have to arrest them, but they should move them. If the law says that they can't be in within 1,000 feet of the school and they are, that should be breaking the law.
Daniel Hart is a registered sexual predator and lives 635 feet from an elementary school. He says putting so many restrictions on sex offenders is unfair and unlikely to have any effect.
Well, the 1,000 feet thing is not going to make any difference. If a person wants to act out, that 1,000 feet thing is not going to do a thing.
I ain't going nowhere.
And Mark Smith, who says he's lived in this house his whole life, hopes to keep it that way.
They ain't gonna force me to move nowhere. I'm not going nowhere.
You're not?
No, I'm not moving.
And last week, Governor Taft signed a law giving prosecutors the power to start eviction proceedings against registered sex offenders living within 1,000 feet of a school. But law enforcement officials tell us what they believe is really needed is the authority to arrest. And to that end, State Representative Tim DeGeeter will introduce legislation perhaps as early as next week, making it a 5th-degree felony. For 10 Investigates, I'm Ted Hart.